Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and this is Harbor Freight's 13-piece set of E-Torx sockets, or external Torx. Now, it made me wonder, is Harbor Freight going for the jugular or playing the long game? And I think they're actually doing both at the same time. So this could get quite interesting. Why am I saying that when I'm talking about a set of E-Torxes? Well, first of all, this is probably the best deal by far of deep E-Torx sockets. In fact, they have trouble comparing these to Snap-on because Snap-on's set is pretty anemic compared to this. However, sometimes the deeps are way too long for the restriction, which is also one of the reasons people are using E-Torx instead of standard hex bolts, among other reasons. And I've heard a few other reasons for the popularity of E-Torx, especially with certain vehicle manufacturers like Mercedes and BMW, has to do with automation, where it's easier to use robots with E-Torx fasteners compared to hex fasteners as far as them getting stuck in the machines. And also the amount of force that can be put onto an E-Torx compared to a similar diameter hex is quite a bit different. But anyway, the reason I'm talking about both the long game and going for the jugular, well, when I got this set, I looked it up on YouTube, and there was very little about the E-Torx, the Icon E-Torx sets. And they were all, as far as I could tell, the previous one, because I think this is a newer set. But anyway, this similar set was reviewed by Catus Maximus 4 or 5 years ago. And one of the things that was made clear was basically the chamfering of the inside of the sockets was way too shallow on the E-Torxes that he talked about. In fact, compared to the Snap-on, which actually looks not very shallow right now when you compare it, get a similar sized one here, you can just see how much deeper the Icon is now. Well, he made a big deal out of that, and Icon apparently listened. In fact, here's the box for these things. It sells for, I think, $34.95, $35, something like that, which is a pretty good deal considering you can't get 2 Snap-on sockets for that price. But look at this. It says deep chamfered openings for easier engagement with Torx fasteners. It's right there. You know, they have like 4 things that make this great, and that's one of them. So I think, as far as playing the long game, they are listening. They are more nimble, maybe more responsive than a lot of tool companies, which is interesting because you can go online and find old reviews for some of their products, and you compare it with today's version of that product, and it's not the same. And of course, they always say things somewhere, should have looked it up before, but sometimes they'll have it listed on here that the picture, here, look at this. Due to continuing improvements, actual product may differ slightly from photo. I have noticed with a few, I haven't been playing around in the Harbor Freight world very long, but I've noticed a few things have changed rapidly. They're subtle things. So I think Harbor Freight is playing the long game in terms of slowly modifying the products, slowly for, compared to OLED advancement and flashlights or something like that, but way faster than, say, Mac or Cornwell or Tool Truck or Snap-on tool trucks. Where somebody complains about something, especially Catus Maximus with his following, and that he was one of the very few online talking about this set, and then they go in and not only do they take it at least to Snap-on's level, but then they almost double it. I guess that's good. I was trying to figure it out, how some of these compare, in the fit with a Torx. This is a T50E5 here, and this is an E12, so I don't know where they're getting the numbers, but anyway, what it is, it has to do with the kind of the slope of the flutes compared to a vertical and 90-degree edged hex bolt. The way these slide in keeps them both from getting stuck, but also from sealing, basically like a wedge, becoming even tighter as you push further onto this. This is obviously another, this is a standard Torx, but that looks very similar to what an E-Torx fastener looks like. Now, Tacoma I believe there are two on it. There's an E14 for the differential and an E7 for, I believe, the manifold. But otherwise, they're kind of rare on the vehicles I drive. Some vehicles require more. Do you need a set of them? It's probably a good idea to have them handy, you know, kind of the old need rather than need. But for 34 bucks and deep and what appears to be an excellent quality version of the Icon lifetime warranty. What do I mean by going for the jugular? That means a couple of things. I'm wondering if this is going to be similar to maybe like that extension with the spinning collar. Are they going in directions where it's like uncharted territory? Sometimes we joke about Harbor Freight, you know, jumping on, you know, right after somebody comes out with something. I have some examples I'll be doing videos on. You know, obviously, you know, something like this is not a big surprise, a little bit different. Something like this is a big surprise, you know, where it's almost impossible to tell these things apart. You know, they're supposedly the same, or they appear to be about the same tool. One's an Icon, one's a Snap-on. There's a big hefty price difference. But is Snap-on, is Icon going to go in directions where there is no one necessarily to follow? And that's what I'm wondering about this. There are a couple of other long or deep E-Torxes out there, but this is about half the price of the next most expensive one that I could find. Most of them are about 3 times this price, and Snap-on, to my knowledge, doesn't even make one. So, you know, they're comparing this to Snap-on in the ads, but Snap-on doesn't make as far as I can tell, a deep E-Torx set. Anyway, so nuts and bolts, this goes from E4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, and 24. 24 is getting to something pretty big. And I think this might have been the one missing from the set that Catus Maximus did 4 or 5 years ago. You know, having the large one. A lot of them start at E4, maybe run to E20, some E24 now. But anyway, kind of an interesting idea, you know, to have a nice deep set of these things handy. However, clearance-wise, you know, this really might be the answer, having a little short stubby set. But your mileage may vary, and I don't drive a BMW or a Mercedes, so I'm not sure. Somebody can jump in on that. But anyway, it is kind of interesting to think about Harbor Freight, you know, just being incredibly responsive to a complaint, a public complaint. But, you know, the store has changed quite a bit. Early on, and I'll go into that probably when I talk about these guys, you know, I never shopped Harbor Freight because I think the first one I went into, it just stunk so bad and people didn't know anything. The one tool I did buy years and years ago was whatever it was, Chicago Electric or Pneumatic or something. Anyway, it was a multi-tool, you know, one of the little vibrating things, and it was an absolute piece of junk. And it was so cheap, and I should have learned my lesson. You know, I now have a Milwaukee one I really like, but the Harbor Freight version was, the whole tool was less than a quality blade, and you needed to buy a quality blade for the thing to work, and that was a little tough to swallow. You know, you spend your 15, 20 bucks on the tool, and then it's another 25 bucks for, you know, some good blades. Anyway, and the thing didn't work very well. It kind of stunk like burning electricity when I used it. I got rid of it. But I didn't go back to Harbor Freight. You know, I wasn't that interested in it. It just always represented kind of Chinese junk to me. But anyway, you know, this one's made in Taiwan. There's more USA-made stuff. That, again, is playing the long game. You might go in and it's a little bit surprising where stuff's made or, you know, what they're actually offering. But anyway, I'll be talking more about that in future videos. But right now, if you need an E-Torx set and you don't mind a deep set and you're after that, you know, what might be reactionary excessive chamfering, and you want a full comprehensive set from E4 to E24 for 35 bucks, maximum Harbor Freight price. Probably get that for a lot cheaper if you know how to play the coupon stuff. I think this is a great deal. That's why I've got it. And with that, Doc out.